the madness has begun. Upsets all over the place, big upsets. And although Arkansas was a trendy upset, it did not happen as Arkansas defeats Vermont by a score of 75-71 to advance to the round of 32. This is Arkansas basketball recap. I'm Daniel Price. That's Jacob Price. Man, it was close down the stretch. I mean, but
Arkansas does not blow teams out. They win
don't.
close.
I had friends who don't really watch, friends on the West Coast that don't watch Arkansas or anything, but they just were watching the tournament because they're basketball fans. And they were texting me towards the end, like, oh man. And I actually sent a text out to one of them that said, Arkansas always wins like this. They don't blow teams out. This is not anything new for anyone who's watching Arkansas this year. But you got, I thought we played pretty good, considering Note had a donut in the first half. I don't want to jump right to this, but it leads into something else. It's tough for me, like player of the game, like Amude was really important. Devo was huge in this game, especially the first half, man. Devo really stepped up when JD couldn't do anything. But Jalen was so important in this game, and I don't know if you noticed it, but Davis, the other team's Davis, their big guy. When Jalen wasn't in the game is when he started eating our lunch.
Yeah.
And when Jalen came back in the game, I don't know if he scored again. I mean, Jalen shut his water off, dude, and he was a non-factor.
Well, I think it looked like, I think that matchup was for sure the defining matchup of that game, even though it wasn't, in some ways it was obvious, but in other ways it had ripple effects to both teams' offenses and both teams' defenses. And it really changed what the ideal situation was, both defensively and offensively, for the Hogs, for sure. Because it looked like, he was getting the better of Jalen for the first 15 minutes or so.
Well,
and then
he hit 2 threes, and but he wasn't beating Jalen up, and he started getting all that stuff inside and stuff.
When Jalen went out, he got that and one. Like he had hit 2 threes. He might have even hit 3, and he then he had made a little jumper, and then he hit that baby hook and one. And he was single-handedly holding them in the game and giving them, not just holding them, they were leading. And it looked like we didn't really know what to do with him. And I don't know if you could tell, but Jalen was off offensively too. And it wasn't because he had such a, that guy could guard him so well. He was so having to try to figure out how best to help his team. And we talk about this all the time with matchups. It was just a bad matchup for Jalen because he was such a deadly 3-point shooter, and he was purposefully holding Jalen outside. And Jalen from that position cannot do what he wants to do and help his team. He wants to be spying on the ball, trying to step into the lane and boxing out and getting rebounds. And it was, and this, like when you're guarding that weird guy that's not what you're used to, and you're completely out of sorts on the defensive end, it makes it harder to get involved. Like you're constantly, like your gears are turning. And it's not that you can't figure it out, but it's that the intuitive part of the game has been disrupted. And I felt like you could tell that Jalen, while he did do an excellent job of defense in the second half, and I think that's because in the first half he was trying to figure out how he wanted to play it and wasn't sure what his obligation was, because he's a guy that wants to help play help defense. And it looked to me, I'll be interested to hear what Musselman says, but it looked to me like Musselman said in the second half, that's the guy that's going to beat us. Do not leave him. Don't help.
It seemed like Musselman was trying to see if maybe somebody else could guard him. And the answer to that question was no.
And I think he was doing that because he was hoping that if he could get Wade or somebody to guard him, because he's on the perimeter anyway. And so he's not like he's going to be bullying him inside. He was hoping he could get Jalen to be able to float in the post again and do what he does.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work.
No, there was only one guy on our team that could guard him. and that was Jalen. And once Jalen decided that that's what he was going to do, that's what happened. And he literally shut him down offensively the last 10 minutes of that game. I mean, he didn't get anything. And Jalen is such a good defender for big guys because he's so long. And he's not slight either. Like Jalen's big enough. But he's also fast for being that big. And so he's got good hands. And so, I mean, Jalen can really, like, if you're a guy, if you have like that stretch 4, stretch 5 guy that you're trying to have shoot threes, Jalen can guard those guys because he's so long, and he can guard guys that want to bang in the post. And he's unlike what Jalen does to guys, which is, and I would have maybe liked to see him do. I think Jalen could have taken that dude off the dribble more. I would have liked to have seen some of that, like get the Jalen the ball at the top of the key to spread it out and just let him take him to the rack. Because I don't think there's a lot of post guys that are Jalen size that can guard Jalen on the perimeter if you just spread it out and let him go.
Yeah, that I totally agree with you. Although this was one of those guys, like I actually thought he was on the other end also a bad matchup. Not that Jalen couldn't play effectively against him, but he wasn't oversized where you want, like where Jalen could just go around him anytime. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't very slow. He was actually decently quick, and he wasn't so small that Jalen could just easily abuse him down on the post. So he was actually kind of a not a bad matchup, but a not ideal, and did a pretty good job, I thought, of disrupting what Jalen wanted to do. When Jalen would post up, he held his ground and made Jalen take, instead of being able to get right in there and up and under and get an easy layup, he held his position good enough that generally Jalen ended up in a little bit off balance kind of flip shot, one that he's capable of making, but at least it was a high difficulty shot, you know?
Yeah.
And Jalen didn't make a lot of those.
Well, I would have liked to have seen, what I mean by taking him off the dribble is when you have a guy like that, I want to see, and this is a slight criticism, but I would like to see us trying to get him in foul trouble. And a good way to get him in foul trouble is to spread it out and let Jalen go at him. Or
maybe set screens and have him try to guard Note or something, you know?
Yeah, maybe. He's not going to swat Jalen. That's the thing, is that like Jalen's going to get to the back. Jalen's a hard guy not to foul when he's on the move. And so, but anyway, I mean, and here's the other reason that I think Jalen won this matchup, even though, he at Davis, their guy, had 20 points. Jalen had 13 points, but Jalen Williams had 10 rebounds in a game where he was being pulled out on defense and wasn't in as great a position to rebound. He still had 10 rebounds, and Davis had three rebounds for that guy.
That was the sacrifice they were making. They were making the sacrifice of, we're going to put you on the perimeter and hope you hit a couple of threes and pull him out. And obviously you can't rebound effectively from that position, And
somehow Jalen still did. He still,
Jalen
was still.
Well, I would imagine some of those were offensive boards, and Jalen on the offensive end was in a good position to rebound.
Jalen ended up with 2 offensive rebounds, 8 defensive rebounds.
Okay. You know what I mean, though? Like that other guy, I doubt he got an offensive rebound all night because he was standing outside on offense.
He did not get an offense. So overall, I'm like, hey man, I think you win that matchup if you're the guy that ends up with a double-double. I think.
And you win the matchup if you win the game.
That's true. If you win the game, you do. Other big things. I mean, Devo was great in this game. He had 14 points, 3 assists, 2 steals. I thought. I mean, is there going to be a thing now where you have like tournament Devo?
I hope so.
Is it like March Madness Devo? Is that when Devo decides? Because Devo looked great.
Yeah, he looked good. Although I think he plays better when it's that thing we talk about, when you get the guy that doesn't normally shoot 3-pointers catches the ball with 2 seconds left. It's like it's got to go up. So all that pressure is relieved of whether or not you should take a good shot. And when Note's in foul trouble, Devo does tend to play better because he's not out there like, don't screw this up or you'll be benched. It's like, hey, we need your help. You know what I mean? And I think he responds to
It
that.
does seem like some that maybe Devo, which this bodes well for next year probably. That Devo does maybe play better when Note is not on the floor.
Yeah.
And
On offense.
on offense, yeah. I mean, Devo always plays good on defense. I mean, so Amude was huge.
I thought he was player of the game for sure. I mean, because it wasn't just one of those spurt things. He consistently hit shots when we needed him, and that block was. I mean, it happened early in the game, so it kind of got forgotten. But that dunk erase was epic.
Yeah, so you look at Amude's stat line. He had 21 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks. Yeah, it's pretty good. He was efficient, 6 of 11. He was 3 of 4 from the 3-point line. 6.
I thought he got hurt on that one play where he fouled that guy and got caught because he was like, he must have just got a hip stinger or something because he was rolling around and I couldn't tell because the camera panned away. But I was like, I thought maybe he broke his arm or something.
Do you see his leg and his foot end up on that guy's shoulder? And I was like, man, that's like how you tear a groin or something, man.
Well, like I said, I saw on the replay, he went down all weird, but then they panned away as he was hitting. But then in another distant shot, you could see him on the ground rolling. And I couldn't quite make it out, but I thought for 1 second, like he had folded his arm behind himself or something like that. And it was, but he got right back out.
And I'm not one to do this very often, but I thought those refs were about to really put us in a bad situation. Because of the call before that, which was like, no, dude, that's our ball. Come on now. And they didn't change it. And look, I hardly ever am like bagging on the refs, but I didn't think that one was that hard. I'm like, dude, that's our ball. What are you talking about? And then the next one, and like you see it go off JD's face, but didn't obviously go off the guy's hand. And it made me worried that I'm like, man, are you not going to reverse this call either?
Well, I actually didn't think that one was more obvious than the other.
No.
I mean, I thought if they were going to be consistent, they probably would have stuck with both.
I thought they were both obvious. I thought there was enough evidence on both of them that you're going to get that I thought they were going to overturn the other one.
Yeah, I mean, they maybe should have overturned both of them, but I think if you keep the one, you need to keep the other one.
You know, the announcers don't care, and like they seem pretty convinced of it. So that was a little bit of a bummer. But you know, it worked out. But that would have been a real bummer to get the ball there.
It is my least favorite kind of last 3 minutes of a game where it's like you have a close game, so it is exciting in a certain way, but you don't have any of this like big epic shots made and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like where it's like 3-pointer on this side and then like and one on this side. I mean, they did end up hitting a 3 or 2, but like the most of it was foul, shoot 2 free throws, replay on the out of bounds, replay to see if this happens. Like it takes 20 minutes to finish the game, and then the team that was already ahead wins anyway. And it's just all for naught. You know, it's kind of a tedious ending of a game, especially since you're like, please just end already.
Yeah. I mean, but that's a pretty typical Arkansas kind of win too, where they're ahead by just enough that they're gonna have to foul you. And you know, I thought that it was interesting. You know, he tried to put likes in. I actually wondered why he didn't have likes in before that. If you're gonna use likes for anything, it's got to be when you're inbounding the ball and you know the other team's gonna foul you. Because likes can get open almost against anybody.
Yeah.
And he's a good guy to get the ball because if he gets it, he's gonna take off with it. Like if you know a team is desperate and they got all their guys there and they're gonna foul, if you're ever gonna have likes in the game, put him in the game then.
Yeah, that was a terrible place to catch the ball. I mean, that's like press, you know, trying to trap 101. Don't throw it to the double corner where you've got 2 defenders already blocking you in.
And I'm sure some people watch this game and be like, "Ooh, man, Arkansas, like I don't know, like you know, it was probably closer than it should have been." Look, dude, I watched a lot of games today, and trust me, what you wanted to do today was get out with a win. Because there was people dropping all over the place.
Yeah, my bracket's crap already. First day,
so everyone's just toasted, dude. I mean, it's any W is good on this particular Thursday. I mean, there were there were very few games that were just blowouts. I mean, even the Gonzaga game, like even though it ended up being like a 18-point win or something like that, with like 8 minutes left in that game, that was a tied up game. That game was crazy.
I didn't get to see it. I was working all day.
Kentucky
I
losing.
saw the end of that one.
Wild.
I feel bad for those guys, man. I mean, it sucks when you are. It sucks. I mean, it's hard to feel bad for Kentucky, but it does suck when everybody kind of hates you. That's not your fan, but then you also, your fan base is extremely radical. So you have pressure from both sides. Like, people are there's going to be extra salt when you lose, like poured on you from the detractors. And then your own fans are also going to be pretty disappointed. And it's just a double disappointment all the way around. You know what I mean? For those kids anyway.
Well, it put into perspective the win against Vermont, because if everything was going chalk and then you have this tight game with Vermont, you're like, oh man, like we need to play better than that or whatever. But today you're like, nah. I mean, the team we're playing, I mean, you saw the 5-12 go down. We're playing a 12 seed in the next round in New Mexico State, and we should have been playing UConn because UConn couldn't get it done. And so, that's a 12-5 matchup. We're in that 13-4 matchup. Hey, I'll take any win in the tournament.
Yep, and like I said, I don't feel, because this wasn't atypical if you look at who scored and who played, in what way. But I still do think that because I thought that was, I don't know if it was intentional, if it was just a coincidence of the matchups, but I thought by having Jalen Williams on the perimeter on the defensive side the whole game, I think that's why there wasn't as many turnovers for them.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if you notice, like a big thing that was missing where you're like, where were these 12 points? It's turnovers that somehow turn into Tony making a layup or a dunk.
Well, here's the thing. So there was hardly any turnovers in this game. So Vermont turned the ball over 6 times. That is not very many. That is what you're looking for.
That's what I'm saying.
The only thing better than that is if you're Arkansas and you turn the ball over 5 times in the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
That's neither team was turning the ball over. I mean,
I was going to say, I really do think that was one piece of Arkansas's whole mojo that was missing for both Note and like Tony. If you think about it, like Note was a little quiet. Jalen wasn't, was a little quiet, but Tony was way quiet. And normally you're used to getting a couple of cheap offensive rebound putbacks, 1 or 2 runouts where he ends up being the finisher on the end of a layup. And a lot of those plays, even the offensive rebounds, Jalen Williams is involved down low, tapping the ball around, boxing somebody out, and both on the turnover runouts and on the offensive rebounds for Tony. Tony ends up being the guy that gets the, put in the scoring column, but a lot of that is affected by Jalen Williams being down there and, just big body and hands. And that part was completely eliminated. The turnovers, he got one and was a big one, but the offensive fouls that he draws, all that stuff was removed, and they were still able to eke it out. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. Maybe they'll watch that and that'll become a new strategy for teams. But I'm telling you, with a different personnel, like next game, Jalen Williams could be amazing, just back to himself with, because he also didn't get involved as much on like catching in the high post and was not able to distribute as much. Just felt like he wasn't involved as much. You know what I mean?
I mean, he still ended up with 13 points. And, that's what I mean. It's like in a game that was weird for him, he still ends up with a double-double.
Yeah, he was still good.
Yeah.
He just wasn't, the player of the game that he normally is.
So, I mean, this game really came down to, we won the rebounding battle. That was huge. 39-32. But what this really came down to was, Vermont shot 44% from the field. Arkansas shot 43%. Vermont shot 9 of 24 from the 3-point line, 37.5%. Arkansas shot 7 of 21, 33%. Those are all like relatively similar numbers until you get to free throws, where Vermont shot 10 of 17 for 58%, and Arkansas shot 20 of 25, 80%. And that's really the game.
Yep. I mean, it did feel like I guess we did miss a few too. Yeah, Jalen missed both of us.
Still, I'd take 20 of 25, dude. If the team's going to shoot 80%, give me that all day.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I felt like they were going to shoot even worse than that. When you were saying that, it felt like they missed a lot of big free throws.
They missed a lot down the stretch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I mean, what can you say? Hey, we're still dancing. You get New Mexico State on Saturday. I don't know what time that game is. They haven't said, but I'm looking forward to it. And, watching Gonzaga, I would love, and obviously Gonzaga's got another game. They got to play Memphis, and we'll see how that goes. But give me New Mexico State. Let's try to get that done. I'm not trying to look down the road, but hey, man, I would love a Sweet 16 matchup with Gonzaga. I would be excited for that.
That'd be awesome to look forward to next weekend. That's what's so nerve-wracking about this next game. It's like, I'm either going to be even though I enjoy March Madness anyway, but like, oh, that's it. Nothing to look forward to. It's over. Or like the most exciting thing to look forward to, the Sweet 16 with a big matchup. Although even on my bracket, I actually have Gonzaga losing to, is it Creighton? I think.
Oh, they're playing Memphis.
Oh yeah. No, I have them losing in the next one, I guess.
To us?
I thought I had them losing. Oh, maybe I had who did Memphis beat?
Who did Memphis beat? Memphis beat.
I had some kind of upset happening there.
Memphis beat San Diego State. No, sorry, Creighton beat Creighton's. Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong bracket here. Hold on, I'm in the wrong thing. So Memphis beat Boise State, and Creighton's in an entire different.
Okay.
Bracket. So
I think I did have Creighton moving on, even though I didn't feel great about it tonight. They almost lost.
Yeah.
But I had Gonzaga losing. I can't remember even who to now. I only filled out a digital bracket, so I hadn't been able to actually stare at it.
If it wasn't to us, like if we weren't going to end up playing them, it had to have been Memphis or Boise State. I don't know who you had winning that game, but I had Memphis winning that game. But I do not have Memphis beating Gonzaga. I do have Arkansas playing Gonzaga, and I do have Arkansas beating Gonzaga. I know we got to beat New Mexico State first. Let's cross that off and then get there. But
it'd be awesome though. I mean, Gonzaga playing a number one team for the Sweet 16 would be amazing. So just one more game, and because I'll feel like, I'll obviously never be satisfied, but I will be a little disappointed if we lose, 2 of 12, of course. But then once you get past this weekend, it feels like it's all gravy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like you want to win every game, but like you made it to the Sweet 16. If you lose to Gonzaga, there's no shame in that.
We talked about this, not on the show, but I think that both of us said going into this tournament, even where we're at, what do we expect? What would be a disappointment? And I think Sweet 16 is what I expect from this team, and I think after that it's house money. But if we don't make it to the second weekend, I'll be disappointed.
Yeah, not completely, but it'll be a little bit of a disappointment because even by the numbers, you should technically beat this next team.
Right. Yeah, we should be a Sweet 16 team. That's what.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the top 25 rankings has us at 17 right now. So, yeah.
Well, like I said, it could be worse. Could be a Kentucky fan. So
yeah, that's right. Or any number of other fans that went down to Iowa. Come on now. That
screwed me out. Yeah.
So, all right, man. Well, we'll be back at it. I'm actually going to be on the road this weekend, but I will, of course, watch the Hogs and do the show. So fingers crossed. I'm actually hoping that they play later. I know most people probably don't want that. It would be better for me. I have a work trip. I'll be in West Virginia watching the Hogs play, but it'd be better for me. The later they play, the better for me on Saturday. So let's hope it's an evening game.
All right.
All right, Bart.
We'll
I'll see you
see.
later.
See you, man. Bye.